Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the dual plane intake for the Dakota RT. So I'll set up a kegger next to it and we'll kind of compare everything and try to figure out how I'm going to get this in my little mill. It's a little bigger of a project than it's really made for, but we'll figure something out. So let's check it out. Well, here's it sitting next to the kegger. You can definitely tell a huge difference in weight. Obviously the runners are shorter and right out of the box much larger than the kegger. Just already opened up, probably pretty close to the gasket. There's something in the runner length that's going to change where it makes power, but me and Tim really believe it's more about this. See the way the runner's coming at the cylinder head? So you got this dog leg it's got to make to get into the head, where this is coming in more like this, more straight. I think that's where most of the advantage is, because on most modern muscle cars they've got long runner manifolds, but they don't do this. They usually go the other way, like the LS style. So I think besides the actual dimensions of the runner, or the area of the runner, I think that's probably the biggest reason these are supposed to make more power. Now of course we're going to lose some low end because the runners aren't as long. But in this truck, I'm not hauling anything with it, so it doesn't matter. We're hauling ass. Oh, what else have we got? Got all these injector bungs. I've been trying to figure out how to get this in the mill, and I think I've got it figured out. But if you look, the bolts go straight up and down. The injectors don't. They're at a little bit of an angle, which makes sense. So I've got to try to get it in the mill and make sure I mill it with a little bit of angle to it. Now, these are the bungs I got. They are much bigger than I thought they would be. That's probably a 7/8 to, that's probably a 7/8 slug right there. So I got quite a hole to make. Now I may see what I have that's closest, what end mill is closest, and then cut this down on the lathe, because I'd like to be able to kind of press them in there and not just flopping around, so that they hold themselves straight, and then I can just weld them. That's the plan. Some of them are going to get weird because they're going to be at an angle on the side of this guy's own angle. So things are going to get weird. The mill with an end mill is going to be the best way to do it, I think. I'm not going to try to drill holes in it and just randomly do that and try to weld up the gaps. I want to do this as nice as possible. So that's the plan. I think I figured out how to get it in here. It's not a lot of room. Let's get this cranked out of the way. This is as far back or far away as the table can go, that way. So I've got to offset the intake, but it's so wide for the table that I need it about there. So my plan is, and I've got this marked already, my plan is, you can see it, there you go. I've got some scribe marks. I'm going to drill a hole here and a hole here, and just put the stud straight through the intake, a shorter stud, straight through the intake and bolt it down. And then I can just put some shims on the backside to kind of tilt the intake a little bit. Now, over at the hot rod shop, they've got a much larger mill, and they've got a table you could bolt that straight down to, and then you could angle it with that table. But I don't want to deal with all that. I want to do this at home. So that's the plan. I'm going to get the 4 holes drilled, and we'll go from there. Got it bolted on. Had to do some messing around to get everything to work. To pitch the intake a little bit, I just put some shims under the backside, and so far that seemed to work all right. I took and measured, I used the calipers and measured from bolt center to injector center, because it's really just got to be close enough. But I did that, and then took the calipers and went from the bolt edge, from the bolt hole edge over that far, and scratched it, and then I measured up how far I wanted it, and scratched it, and scratched it. And I put this guy in to use as a centering thing, so I get that in there, get it all lined up, pull that out, put the end mill back in, lock the table down. So I've already done one hole with a 3/4 end mill, and I think I've got the right measurement, because on the back side it just misses the gasket surface. Just like that. So I think that's going to be the way to go. This is just a 3/4 end mill. I don't want to go any bigger, which means I've got to take these and turn them down. These are 7/8. So I'll have to get these in the lathe and cut them down to 3/4, and then hopefully they just slide in nice and easy. Some of these are going to be real close. It should still work. See how deep this cut is and how tall these are. That one's just barely gonna make it. I'll probably have to knock the edge this lip off to make it get in there far enough. But I'll get to drilling some more holes, and we'll get these things in the lathe, get them turned down, and get this intake done. All the bung holes are cut. And I've got one of these just about ready. I had to cut this down in the lathe. You see it was 7/8. Cut it down to 3/4 so it would fit, because that's the size end mill I had, and I didn't want to get even bigger. I gotta trim this side a little more so it'll sit in there straight. And cut 7 more of these down to 3/4, which is gonna take for frickin' ever. To do that, I got this bolt, the head cut off. I stack 2 of these up, put the nut on it, and then just start trimming. So that's what we're going to do. We'll get the rest of these ready. One more done. I'm not gonna record all that. It's tedious. It's gonna take for freaking ever. It's a real pain in the butt, but we'll get it done. Gotta get this thing done, make some more power. I think it's just gonna be long enough, because I think I'm gonna have to set it right there, just enough, and then weld it, which will leave this like that. And once I get it welded in, of course, I'll just go in with the porting tool and grind that crap out of there. I think that's what I'm gonna have to do to keep the angle the way I want it. Yeah, so that'll sit there. Then I'll have to figure out something to get these held up straight. Welding aluminum's not that bad, but trying to sit and get things rigged up so that it will sit still so you can tack it, that's the annoying part. That's going to be tedious, getting all these straight and looking decent. But alright, 6 more, and we'll start welding these things in. Didn't feel like recording all that, so this was a real pain to weld, because I don't weld aluminum that much. I do okay, but this is cast, And getting the first one in, not bad. Once you set the other one in and you can't quite get into the corner or around that stuff, that was a pain in the butt, but it's welded, it's sealed. It doesn't look the best, but it's gonna work just fine. Injectors went right in, everything looks like it's gonna be all right. That's not stretched out too far. The fuel rail I have on it now doesn't have this. It's got a soft line that goes across the front. But there shouldn't be anything back here to mess with it. It's probably going to be a lot easier to work on getting to the distributor and everything without having a big keg in the way. So, kind of excited about all that. Let's see, it's not too hot. Let me take ground off of there. Dang it. Oh, said no. Definite height change there. I'll make it a little easier to work on, which will be nice. It weighs less and hopefully makes much more power. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. That was a crap ton of work. It doesn't look like a lot. It's just all so very tedious, just very time consuming. But it's ready, so we'll find out soon what it does. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.